Hi everyone, so today I decided to film my everyday foundation routine makeup, and I just did this video so that if I want to do a tutorial in the future that is going to be more focused on either eyes or lips or blush, I can skip this part of the tutorial and just say what I have on already is what's shown in this video. So this is going to be kind of a reference video. If you guys are interested in what I'm using in other tutorials, this will be up so you can see what I've already applied and how I applied it. Hopefully this video is helpful for you guys, whether it's just to find new foundation and skin products or to see how to recreate an entire tutorial that I do later on down the road. I'm going to start out by applying my fresh lip treatment in the color Sugar, and this is just a super moisturizing lip treatment balm that I like to let soak into my lips while I'm doing the rest of my makeup so that my lips are soft and prepped for lip color later on. The foundation that I'm going to be using today is the Mercier Silk Cream Foundation in the shade Soft Ivory. And this is a really nice cream foundation. It's good full coverage, but it's not at all cakey. So I really like the finish on this at the same time as it gives me just enough coverage that I need. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of this onto the back of my hand. I use a little bit more than a pea-sized amount. And I'm going to get my Beauty Blender sponge, which a new video will be coming on this very soon. Basically, it's one of the best makeup sponges that I've ever tried. So you get this wet, which is what makes it so big. When you buy it, it's actually a lot smaller than this, but you have to get it wet and squeeze it out and dry it a bunch of times before you use it to apply your makeup. And I think that just makes it more easy to use, well, it makes it bigger for one thing, but it makes it softer, I think, on the outside. So I'm going to take this, which I've already dried off with a Kleenex, and just dab it a little bit into the foundation that I have on the back of my hand. So then I just take this with the foundation on the tip here, which is really nice because you can get in kind of the crevices of your face when you don't have like the big round part here. So I'm going to just sort of dab this on my face and sort of stipple it in to blend it. Now you might notice that when I first apply the makeup with this sponge, it looks like it's coming off in big circles, but actually just the more you dab it, the easier it blends out, and it actually blends out so well, which is why a video will be coming on this sponge very soon, because I absolutely love how easy it makes it to apply your foundation with really even blending and coverage. I'm just going to keep going back into the foundation that I have on the back of my hand as I need to cover my entire face. When I'm applying my foundation, I like to focus on the areas that need a little bit more coverage, especially so that I don't have to use as much concealer later on. I find it's just easier to get as much as I can with foundation without having to worry about building up a bunch of concealer later. I also bring my foundation down to my neck just a little bit to make sure that the color is really consistent between my face and my neck. This foundation is actually an extremely good match for my skin tone, but just to make certain that it doesn't look at all weird, I do like to blend it down underneath my chin and just on the front of my neck right here for a little bit. Next, I'm going to take my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Light Number 2 Vanilla, and I actually have a product spotlight video, which is a new video series that I'm starting on this channel, just talking about really specific products. I talk about all sorts of things about this concealer in that video, pros and cons of it, price, shades, everything. So if you are interested, go ahead and check that out. It'll be linked in the information box below, like I said. So I just like to take this and dab it on any dark spots underneath my eyes and on any blemishes. And what I actually do most of the time is dab it on my finger and then dab it on the blemish to blend it, or the spot that I'm trying to cover, just so I don't take bacteria from a blemish and put it back in the pot with this wand applicator, if that makes sense. But I'm not going to be doing that today because I have to hold a mirror and I have the wand here and I don't have an extra hand. So I'm going to be taking this directly onto the spot that I want to conceal. But just keep in mind that usually I would use my finger to apply it just so it wouldn't be taking bacteria and putting it back in the pot. When I'm concealing under eye circles with this concealer, I like to do 2 or 3 dabs and then blend it out with my finger. And I find that doing it below my actual circles makes it look more natural, because then I blend it upwards into the spot that I want to conceal. I hope that makes sense. And instead of rubbing just across and blending it right in the place that I want to conceal, I'm blending it kind of more towards the color, and it actually just covers up things a lot better. I always try to use either my ring finger or my pinky finger to blend any products around my eyes, including concealer or shadow, anything like that, because those are your 2 weakest fingers, and your eye area is really sensitive, and pressing too long with either your middle finger or your pointer finger or even your thumb pressing too hard can cause premature aging and just kind of bring your skin down. It actually causes fine lines and wrinkles to do that too often. So I try to always use my weakest fingers when I'm blending. I said this in my product spotlight video that I did on this concealer, but I really, really like it for covering up any redness or blemishes. I just find that the coverage is so good, but it doesn't look overly makeup. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look too layered. It just looks perfect. I have a little bit of uneven coloration going on right here, and I know that it's normal to have a different color eyelid than it is to have the rest of your skin, but actually it's the part right underneath my brows, so I do apply a little bit of concealer there as well. I just do this to give my skin a more even tone overall and give me a nice kind of more blank canvas for applying shadows and eye color later on. Almost every day I contour my face pretty lightly with bronzer, and now that we're getting into the warmer months, I like to add bronzer just all over my face. So I'm going to be taking my Nars Laguna bronzer, which is actually what I'm using for my mirror today, and it's this one. This is the Orgasm and Laguna Blush Bronzer Duo. And I'm taking my Bare Essential Flawless Face Brushes, and so this is from the brand that makes Bare Minerals. Starting out with the contouring portion of my bronzing, I like to buff my brush in the Laguna bronzer very lightly to pick up some of the product, and then I go in sort of a 3 motion. So I start up at the top of my forehead and bring it down to my temples and then bring it down to almost the corner of my chin. And I just go over this motion a couple times, picking up more bronzer if I need it, and I just keep going until I feel like there's nice, not shadow, well yeah, shadow, just a nice more dimension is what really I'm going for the contouring. Not necessarily super defined cheekbones, but I like to have just a little bit more dimension to my skin and face. I also take a little bit of the bronzer on my brush and go on the sides of my nose just to make my the bridge of my nose a little bit more defined. So like I said, I contour very, very lightly, so now I'm going to go back in with the same bronzer and the same the same brush, and I'm going to just add a little bit of color to the rest of my face. So I like to go where the sun would naturally touch, especially, so right in the center of my forehead, I buff a little bit, and then on the tops of my cheekbones, and also a little bit on my chin. I tend to add color really, really lightly on my face, and I don't usually blend it down onto my neck just because it doesn't really make a difference in the overall color of my skin. It just kind of makes a difference in how dimensional my face looks. So sometimes I will blend it down into my neck a little bit if I feel like it's a very drastically different color, but right now it isn't, so I'm just going to leave that. And then obviously this changes almost every day, but then I go into my blush, and like I said, you know, depending on what eye look or what lip look I'm trying to wear, this will change most days, but the blush that I really, really like right now is the Tarte Amazonian Clay in the color Blissful, and I just got this, and I hauled it actually a little while ago, and I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely going to pick up more of these Amazonian Clay blushes. The consistency and the blendability of them are just outstanding. So I take this on my MAC 116 brush, which is a small blush brush, and I just buff it in to the product a little bit and apply it starting right at the apples of my cheek. So if you smile like this, you can see this round part is what's called the apple of your cheek, and so I'm going to start there and blend it back a little bit. I find that this blush just looks so pretty, especially with the bronzer that I use. The Laguna bronzer is kind of a lighter tan bronzer, but the pink of this blush just makes me look tanner actually, which is kind of hard to do seeing as I'm so pale, but I just love the glow it gives to my skin. The last thing that I do is I set my makeup with a powder. So this is the Rimmel pressed powder, the Stay Matte pressed powder in the color number 4 Sandstorm. And I take this on another Bare Essentials brush. I really like these big fluffy brushes that they have. This is the Full Flawless Face brush, which again came with one of the Bare Minerals sets that I got a long time ago, and I just buff this into the product a little bit and apply it wherever I tend to get oily. So for me, that's up on top on the forehead here, actually down right here I get oily for some reason. I don't know what's up with that. Around my nose and tops of my cheeks and on my chin, and this is where I like to focus, but if I'm going to be wearing my makeup like all day long, like for a really long time, I do just powder my whole face. But if I'm just going to school or I'm going to film, I do just powder kind of the places that I tend to need it. This is the completed look when I've applied all the products that I usually use for my skin, and then I'll go ahead and I'll prime my eyelids and I'll apply my eyeshadow and my liner and my mascara, and I'll do my brows, and sometimes I add a highlighting powder, but I didn't include that in this video just because it's actually pretty rare that I do highlight. Yeah. And then I'll apply my lip color and then I'm done. I hope this video was helpful to you and that you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day and I'll see you next time. Bye!